You know what's wild? While everyone's talking about Jeff Bezos' $500 million yacht or his Beverly Hills mansions, the guy quietly owns more land than Los Angeles and Chicago combined. We're talking about over 400,000 acres of West Texas desert that has become the proven ground for humanity's next giant leap into space. And here's the kicker. This whole empire started with a 10-year-old kid fixing barbed wire fences on his grandfather's ranch in South Texas. That same kid who spent summers suturing cattle and rebuilding bulldozers now owns one of the largest private land holdings in Texas. The journey from those 25,000 acres his grandfather owned to the massive space empire Bezos controls today, that's what we need to talk about. Let me give you the numbers first because they're absolutely staggering. Bezos currently owns somewhere between 420,000 and 462,000 acres of land, depending on which report you're looking at. That makes him the 23rd largest landowner in America according to the Land Report. But here's what makes this different from other billionaire ranches. This is not about raising cattle or playing cowboy. This is about launching rockets. The whole thing started back in 2004. Amazon had just turned its first profit 3 years earlier, and Bezos was already thinking beyond e-commerce. He bought the 30,000-acre Figure 2 ranch north of Van Horn, Texas. But he didn't stop there. Over the years, through various limited liability companies with names like James Cook, Marquette Holdings, and Coronado Ventures, all named after famous explorers, he kept buying land, piece by piece, ranch by ranch. And the way he did it? Pure strategic genius. According to the Culberson County attorney, Bezos bought the land under different names specifically to avoid driving up property prices. Nobody knew it was all part of one massive plan until years later. It's basically the same playbook Walt Disney used to buy land in Florida for Disney World. Keep it quiet, buy it cheap, then reveal your master plan. Today, that original 30,000-acre ranch has grown into what is known as Corn Ranch, though the official name is Launch Site 1. The core facility sits on 165,000 acres. But when you include all the surrounding land Bezos has acquired through Blue Origin and his various holding companies, we're talking about 400,000 acres or more. Some reports say he controls up to 462,000 acres when you count everything. But why Van Horn, Texas? I mean, this town has about 2,000 people. It is 120 miles from El Paso. The main street has more vacant storefronts than occupied ones. Why build the future of space exploration here? The answer is everything. Van Horn has exactly what you need for launching rockets: isolation, clear skies, minimal air traffic, and most importantly, massive amounts of empty land. When something goes wrong with a rocket test, and things do go wrong, you want miles of nothing in every direction. Here is what is really fascinating though. When Bezos first showed up in Van Horn back in 2005, he literally walked into Larry Simpson's store on Broadway Street and said, "Hi, I'm Jeff Bezos." Simpson owned the local newspaper. Bezos sat down and explained his vision. He was going to build a spaceport. The locals did not really resist. I mean, what were they going to say? The richest man in America wants to bring jobs to your dying town. But for years it was all hush, 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 as the locals put it. Blue Origin was so secretive that employees could not even socialize with townspeople because they could not talk about their work. The company operated in the shadows from 2000, when it was founded, until around 2016, when they finally started integrating with the community. And the transformation of Van Horn? That is a whole other story. Blue Origin now employs 275 people at the site, plus another 50 contractors. That might not sound like much, but in a town of 2,000, that's massive. These are not minimum wage jobs either. We are talking about engineers, technicians, and specialists. The University of Texas at El Paso estimates that 3/4 of the engineers at the site are UTEP graduates. The economic impact has been wild. Local businesses are thriving. The Napa Auto Parts store has become basically a one-stop shop for Blue Origin's equipment needs. Hotels fill up before launches. Restaurants cannot keep up with demand. Blue Origin has pumped over $1 million into local initiatives, including the school district and the food bank. But it is not all positive. Here is the dark side nobody talks about. Blue Origin's presence has actually disqualified Van Horn from certain federal grants that small towns typically rely on for infrastructure. The town needs new water pipes, a new well, and a new water tower. But because Blue Origin's highly paid workforce skews the economic data, Van Horn cannot get the grants it desperately needs. Housing is another nightmare. There is basically no housing available. Blue Origin employees have rented everything, driving up prices for locals. Some people who have lived there for generations cannot afford to stay anymore. The median home value has shot up to about $247,000 in a place where that used to buy you a mansion. Now let's talk about what actually happens on this land. The main launch site. One facility is enormous. It includes a suborbital launch pad, multiple rocket engine test stands, and 3 test cells just for the B-4 engine. There is a vehicle processing facility and an astronaut training facility. This isn't some hobby ranch. This is serious aerospace infrastructure. July 20th, 2021 was when everything changed. That was when Jeff Bezos himself, along with his brother Mark, 82-year-old Wally Funk, and 18-year-old Oliver Damon, took that first human flight on New Shepard. It was an 11-minute trip to space and back, launched from this West Texas desert. Since then, they have sent up celebrities like William Shatner, Michael Strahan, and more recently, Katy Perry. But here is what is really interesting. This land is not just about Blue Origin. Bezos is also building the 10,000-year clock in the Sierra Diablo Mountains on the property. It is designed to run for 10 millennia with minimal maintenance. Because apparently when you are worth $165 billion, you think in geological timescales. The ranch itself has history too. The Figure 2. Ranch was the scene of one of the last battles between the Texas Rangers and Apache Indians. It was owned by the West family, oil and timber tycoons, from 1933 to 1992. At its height, it was 175,000 acres. Now, under Bezos, it is more than doubled. Blue Origin quietly keeps acquiring land in Culberson and Hudspeth counties. They are building out what some people are calling Space Valley. This whole region runs from Van Horn to Las Cruces, New Mexico, and it includes the New Mexico spaceport. What is striking is how this connects to Bezos's childhood. His grandfather, Lawrence Preston Gies, retired early from the Atomic Energy Commission to become a rancher. Young Jeff spent every summer from age 4 to 16 on that ranch, doing real work, not symbolic chores, actual survival-level tasks, laying pipelines, fixing windmills, rebuilding machinery. Bezos once said those summers taught him self-reliance and problem-solving. The kid who learned to fix a bulldozer at age 10 grew up to build rockets. The boy who sutured cattle, and he jokes that some actually survived, now sends humans to space. In February 2025, Blue Origin laid off 10% of its workforce. That was over 1,000 people across the company. Van Horn lost at least 12 jobs, maybe more. The company said it had grown too fast, become too bureaucratic. For a town that had become dependent on Blue Origin, those layoffs hit hard. The locals have mixed feelings. Some love the attention, the jobs, the economic.